Well, it can't talk like that, like you was here. This doctor come like right here, because you came right here, back to the other one. Then I get everything in the trash now. Okay, how you doing? From here on down, and I get everything in the
Islam is September the 1st, 2021. I'm at my room. I'm Rhonda Arrington-Bey at room 16. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Sometimes this room 17, that door is cracked open. A lot of times people just open and close that door out of the blue. I don't know who's in there. I don't know what resident, but they just open and close the door. This morning was cracked open. I'm at Arrington-Bey in Annapolis, Maryland. Just got through telling Imani about what I experienced during this tornado in Annapolis, Maryland. The three black males that just walked by, they were outside talking in front of my door this morning before I left. I was getting dressed, and they were right here, talking in front of my room, and I heard them. And it sounded they were saying words that I usually hear. I couldn't tell, and I opened the door. I was frustrated because I'm trying to, they were talking so loud outside in front of my room in Annapolis, Maryland, at American Extended Stay. Okay, I was just telling Imani how it was a lot of debris. They shut down Burger King. What happened is September the 1st, 2021. Real quick, I was telling Imani how when the tornado came through, approximately about 2:15 p.m. Annapolis. The manager Phyllis, once I was saying, and the coworkers go to the freezer, and I was about to go in the freezer with them, but I said, why should we go in the freezer? And she was like, because everybody started to act really rational. They were irrational. Excuse me, Imani. Thank you. That's Imani Great Bay. Irrational, and just so you know, just if you heard the black male walk by, as he walked into the other room, he said the number 3. Okay, all right. Those 3 black males was outside this door, talking, this morning. So I guess they're working on different things in American Extended Stay, but it doesn't. And I don't know. I'm just giving testimony. They were talking so loud I couldn't. I was really upset because I was like, why are they next to my door talking to my, I don't have any work that needs to be done in my room. But, and I was changing my clothes. I was partially naked. So I opened the door and saw them. So anyway, let me make this quick. So the tornado came through West Street, in Annapolis, Maryland, about 2:15 p.m. approximately. And there were customers in Burger King. Okay. All of a sudden, everybody was saying go to the freezer. Phyllis the manager said go in the freezer, and I was there were probably 3 or 4 co-workers behind, or co-workers including Phyllis next to me. I was right at the door of the freezer, and I said, why should we go in the freezer? And she was like, well, you don't have to, she was irrational. I'm not going to call her irrational, but she, behaved, seemed like, irrational, like upset, like, she said, if you don't want to go in the freezer, don't go. And I was like, okay, fine. I said, I don't want to go. So I walked, I left. I didn't go in the freezer. I went to the back room where you can walk out, where there's an exit right next to the exit. And I put my head up against the wall and covered my head with my jacket and my arms with my neck. I covered my head and my neck with my jacket. And then after James, the other black male manager, was there as well. And once again, there was customers out inside. I was thinking, I don't know how safe this is to be in the back room, but at least I'm against the wall and I have everything covered. My head is covered, and I was thinking about if I'm not close to a window, glass, and what so then afterwards, the tornado, they said, okay, it passed. Got word, it's the people were saying it passed inside of Burger King. I was like, okay, great. So I walk outside, I get my stuff, and I went to the bathroom, walked outside. Then we started to get reports. I started hearing people say that they said they spotted another one. Another one's coming through. The rain slowed down, and then it started back up again forcefully. And but in between that time, you know,
Walking home during that time.
you were.
Yeah,
but
I pretty much had just missed it pretty much.
okay.
I left at around pretty much at around 2:15.
Okay. In between that time, I was thinking to myself, you saw the damage of the tornado. The people that work in the satellite next to Burger King, they came inside Burger King because part of that building came off. Part of Burger King came off. The top part, it looked like power lines came down on a car. It did some damage, and they had the electricity went out. So, but then there were people saying there's a report of another tornado going. So I started to think, what should I do? Because everybody crowding into the bathrooms. There's not enough room in the bathroom. They're very small. The freezer, I definitely think that was a good idea, especially if people are acting irrational and they were already behaving. They seem possibly, maybe that's just how some communicate during a disaster. But to me, I definitely I was thinking, I don't think it's a good idea to be cramped up in a freezer in the bathroom, even though a bathroom would be a good idea, especially with a tub, but not with a bunch of people, and especially if they possibly are behaving irrational before, during, or just not. When I say irrational, I mean they could be upset about something. They don't know how to handle what's going on. So emotionally. So I was thinking, what can I do? So I was thinking about ditches outside of Burger King that I can go down into and cover my head up to protect myself. So I was in a dining room when there was reports. They were saying there might be another one. You know, people was coming from other stores around Burger King, inside of Burger King. So I was in the dining room. So I said, well, let me go back to the utility room where there's a door exit, and see if how this ditch is. I'm around the Arrington-Bey. How deep this ditch is. 'Cause I know there's water there, but if it's low enough, I think that might be safe for me to go down there if there's another tornado coming through. So I opened the door, and right there at the door, this is the door from the dining room to go in the kitchen to get to the back door, to the exit. I was just going to open it slightly to just look and see. A co-worker was blocking that door. A co-worker, a black male. His name was Nathan. His name is Nathan, and he was just standing there, and he was talking to James, the black male manager, and which was right in front of him. And I said, "Excuse me, Nathan." He wouldn't answer. I said, "Excuse me, Nathan." And I just got through telling my name, but when I told him, I was upset, but I'm now calmed down. And I said again, because once again, as soon as you open the door, he was right there blocking it. from the dining room to the kitchen. I said, "Excuse me, Nathan," and then finally, then he, because and then he said, "Wait, I'm talking to James." In aggressive manner. Now we are just experienced. I didn't take any pictures, but I guess they'll probably be online. And Burger King probably will not be open tomorrow because that's how bad the damage is on West Street. I'm thinking it won't be. The electricity went out on its own, so it's enough damage. This is a small disaster. It's not like Hurricane Katrina. I was telling you, money. Hurricane Katrina, the Superdome. In the Superdome, because many of the fatalities and violence could have been stopped just by people being calm and pulling together and figuring out what's the best solution to protect one another, right? From the elements it's the elements that we're protecting ourselves from. It's not, we shouldn't be protecting ourselves from one another, all right? It's the elements. The tornado is an element. It's weather, okay? You shouldn't have to worry about in a natural state of mind, or I should say natural, in a healthy state of mind. Okay, and I'm not calling Nathan unhealthy. I'm just speaking to Imani about this, about the people that you are next to or around. If you are battling or trying to survive elements like a hurricane, or earthquake, a tornado, a tsunami, Islam, okay? And so you shouldn't have to worry about that. So finally, Nathan, he moved out the way after me saying "excuse me" a few times, and after he said, "I'm talking to James" in an aggressive manner, the manager, the black male manager, and I went to the back of the utility room, and I just opened the door just to peep out to see how deep the ditch was, and I came back, and I was upset because this was mini. This wasn't Hurricane Katrina. This was not a tsunami, but this was a small disaster that did enough damage where people had to leave the buildings because some of the buildings the top came off to go inside another building, and electricity went out, and you got power lines down. There was a oil leak, I was told, and people saying there was an oil leak. There's reports of an oil leak. So this was bad enough where people should be careful. And you got the United States. We saw the military, United States military, walking up and down the street. Okay, Islam. So it really made me upset that I would have to even go through this at this time with a coworker at Burger King that we are among a mini disaster. So what happened in Hurricane Katrina was they said during the day it looked like everything was okay while they was waiting for help. The military was outside the Superdome. Okay, the military was walking up and down the street. But inside the Superdome at night, people were being murdered, children were being raped, but people were fighting violence. So and then you have Texas. The electricity went out in Texas, and I know this to my Moorish American Nation and family. And here is Imani Grebe. He was Allah. His spirit guides were all around him. He left out and got off work right before the tornado. So a little enough before he knew even there was a tornado. He got a report, but he didn't. He had a report at around 2:04, 2:05, and it came about 2:15 p.m. I started speed walking home. Right. So my thought. So the people behaved in a. They would those that were trying to survive Hurricane Katrina had to survive being among animals in the Superdome first. Okay. So you had animals. When I say animals, you had males and females that had an animal state of mind and took advantage of a situation to, instead of coming together to help to stay alive, the people that were trying to stay alive had to protect themselves from the people that they were among, Islam. while they got help. So this is what I was speaking about Hurricane Katrina for a few moments with one of the customers, a regular pale skin customer, while we were waiting to hear what we should do. And I was like, we need to stay calm. I was saying a lot of fatalities and violence probably like in Hurricane Katrina could have been avoided if people would stay calm and not be irrational. And she brought up electricity going out. She said Louisiana. I didn't know electricity went out in Louisiana. I brought up Texas. I said, okay, this is at Burger King. So it just made me really, really upset that I had to even experience something like this in a situation that was mild but did enough damage. All right. It was no reason for him to block. I mean, I couldn't go around him because he had literally his body, and he is a male, was blocking the door, and all I was going through was going to the back where I had took cover at to open the door, in which it didn't matter just to look, but it shouldn't even matter to see where if there was a dish. But he was like just like acting, decided to behave in an aggressive manner at this time with this mild disaster. So I was thinking to myself, when you're dealing with, it's so important to know your surroundings and know the mentality of the people you are around. Because when you are around people who behave like an animal, and I'm not saying Nathan behaved like an animal, Islam, all right? I'm not saying that because definitely I was upset, all right? But when you are among those that behave like an animal, a beast, in their state of mind before a disaster happens, when that disaster, if goodness forbid a disaster happens, those are the people you have to watch out for, because they're going to increase in what they're doing. If they were violent, whether they say spiritually, mentally, sending sharp pains, when you're dealing with unclean spirits, sending sharp pains, raping, they rape, molest, stalk. If they were doing it before, those are the spirits. These are unclean spirits I'm referring to. Would be worse in a disaster. So it just made, as I was talking to the customer at Burger King, while we were trying to hear what was going to happen during this tornado, I was thinking about, and I was really putting my feet in those shoes in the Superdome with the people that survived Hurricane Katrina, because they said the ninth ward in Louisiana was one of the most violent places you can go in Louisiana before the Hurricane Katrina. They said the ninth ward, which was predominantly all African American, black or melanated, mulatto, Spanish speaking, was one of the most violent places you can go in Louisiana. Those people that were trying to survive Islam, the Hurricane Katrina, were in the Superdome, was among those people that were violent. And the military, because they gave reports, the military was outside during the day, and the people that survived gave reports, said it looks okay now because we come out here during the day, but at night nobody comes to help us, and we are being the people are being raped, they're being murdered, they being violence is happening at night while they were waiting to get help. Islam. So this to me, I was telling Imani, what did I say? I said, Imani, is this not a sign? It is a sign. I'm not using anything as a sign, but I'm just saying it is a sign in a thought. When I think spirituality, spirit speaks to me in different ways. I'm not accusing Nathan. I don't know why he felt the need to behave in a manner that I felt was aggressive at this point when so much was happening and we were battling to survive against elements. But this was definitely to me a sign to always try to represent yourself as a civilized American citizen and be aware, okay, of those that are among you and around you. Okay, and I'm not accusing Nathan of anything, of doing things beforehand. I don't know why he decided to do this today, at this point during this disaster. But as a spiritual sign coming to me as a spiritual woman, I was thinking to myself, okay, this is a spiritual sign for me to always just be careful. Islam. And I'm not accusing him. I don't know what his thoughts were. I don't know what was his agenda. I don't know what his intention. But I didn't understand why I'm having to ask him to move politely, quietly. I'm like, excuse me, Nathan, excuse me, Nathan. And all this just happened. And he chose to, first he didn't say nothing. I had to say, excuse me, a few times. And then he said, wait, I'm talking to James. I couldn't go past him. All he had to do was take one step to the right, one step to the left, one step in front. I mean, that's all he had to do. He didn't have to, it wouldn't take much just to move, just to slide over. All I needed a little room just to squeeze by him. And then he moved. Islam. That's all I have to say. Islam. I'm not calling him an animal. I'm not calling him a beast. I'm saying this was a spiritual sign as me being a spiritual, natural, divine being. And I'm studying my spirituality, Islam. It is September 1st, 2021.